these old men that run the New World Order. Gary Rebb gets a Pulitzer Prize for exposing the fact that the CIA brings in narcotics, and they double-tapped him in the head and said it was a suicide. They killed this local Palestinian activist, cut him all up, duct taped him, slaughtered him, and said it was a suicide. We talked to people, the people that washed his body at the Muslim Center. He'd been tortured and cut to pieces. And we also know people at TV stations that heard the live feeds. When the cops fished him out, they said, "Oh, this guy's been murdered, all cut up, hands, legs bound." George Humphrey's in the studio with us, and now Florida police believe suicide victim is D.C. Madam. She had said on this show that, Dick Cheney could have been one of my clients, but I'm not going to release that information. I'm going to go ahead and fight this in court. And she threatened to release the names of the hundreds of big clients she had in D.C., and, man, they went ahead and convicted her, and there's no doubt they've murdered her. On air in several interviews, and we have a small staff, but we're going to dig it out. Our listeners can go into the 3 interviews we had with her. We had the last one about a month ago. I'm going to air that in the last 30 minutes of the show today. She was just absolutely clear. I will never commit suicide. I will fight this. If I'm convicted, I will not commit suicide. I will never kill myself. And she made that clear repeatedly. So listeners, go into the YouTube videos, the audio's out there on the web. Help us find it. Call into the show. Tell us where it is. I got John Harmon trying to find it. I think it's in the last interview. I got people at the office trying to find it. I want to say again, I am not going to kill myself. I am not going to kill myself. George Humphrey, former city council member, economist, author, documentary filmmaker. I've been fighting the New World Order for 15-plus years. Deborah Jean Palfrey, we just learned right at the end of the last segment, is dead. Thanks for coming in.
As always, it's great to be here. God, for those of you who are afraid to get involved in the fight against the New World Order because you might be ostracized or you might lose some friends, get over it. There are so many vibrant, wonderful, alive people, and just in this just coming to Alex's office, this is the Star Command. The energy here is so great. Alex, it is just such a pleasure to be here. You know, your passion for life is so wonderful. And, you know, sometimes you yell and scream and turn people off, but you know what? After they listen to you, they get into it.
Well, people do instinctively know that I'm telling them the truth, and they check out the facts.
Yeah.
And I love life so much, I'm willing to give mine up for other people.
Well, first of all, you're not going to be giving your life up. You're creating more life, and you know what? There is no defense against the New World Order. The only way to deal with this is to go forward, tell the truth, not be afraid. For those of you who are out there, there's nothing, there are things to be afraid of, but don't be afraid. If we have it in our intention that we're going to win this thing, that we're going to turn this country around, is that we're going to restore the Constitution and the Republic. And I'm not talking about a utopia. We restore a good school systems. We restore the environment. If we restore positive relationships between the police and the people, and the police actually become peace officers. When we have sovereignty in our country again, we close our borders and we take care of our own people, when we start manufacturing in this country again, these are things worth fighting for.
I want to get into the positive.
Yeah.
I want to get into the positive area, but I know that Deborah Jean Palfrey would want us to expose the fact she was murdered.
Absolutely.
In fact, she said to me privately, and I know on air, that if she committed suicide, it was murder. She was murdered. She did not kill herself, and I'm telling you, I will never kill myself. And look, I'm not afraid of them killing me. But I am afraid of them shooting me in the back of the head, blowing my brains all over the walls when my family's out of town sometime, and then saying I committed suicide. And I'm going to ask the Austin police, or if they kill me in New York or anywhere else, or any other patriot, please don't frame us. I mean, the hitmen come and kill us, and then you go along with it? I mean, that is so disgusting, George.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love your bravery, and the fact is, to be alive is to fight evil. And when these son of a guns do stuff like this, and they've been doing it for such a long time, I mean, they've been doing it for centuries, and just in the last 15 or 20 years, you know, Waco, Oklahoma City, TWA Flight 800, the list goes on and on. It's cold-blooded murder. And to be alive is to be in what's in India they call dharma, right action. We have to stand up shoulder to shoulder, and not ask or petition, but demand justice. And just like that fellow who was killed here in Austin not too long ago, he was a Palestinian. I don't know all the facts on that, but I have friends who are very good friends of his, and they said absolutely 100% he was murdered.
Oh no, I mean, they fished him out with just tortured to death, and bound hands, legs, mouth, and the first Austin police said, he was murdered, and the higher ups. I mean, God,
this is, if you have this, there is forensic evidence. You can't tie your hands up and duct tape yourself and do things like that. So it's pretty clear that there was foul play and murder on this, and the fact that there is not marching in the street, that there is just not massive response to this massive injustice, to this murder. It's the same thing as King Edward I when he was killing the Scots back in the late 1200s. We need people who are brave hearts, people like Alex Jones, and as importantly to the people who are listening to this, have a brave heart, and together we can stop this thing.
Well, I want to be clear, George. With me, it's not even bravery. At my instinctive, spiritual, whatever core, I can't control myself. I hate bullies. I hate corrupt tyrants. I mean, the sterilization, the murder of Africans and Latin Americans and us, and all the eugenics they carry out against us. I mean, they hate life. They revel in hurting innocence.
Well, as you probably know, Mahatma Gandhi is one of my heroes, and I've spent a lot of time in India. But even Mahatma Gandhi, who was the king, the prince of nonviolence, said, it is better to go to war with a gun in your hand to defend your country than to be a coward and say you believe in nonviolent civil disobedience. We have to have courage to stand up against these rascals.
Now it's more sophisticated. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but that's one section. It's kind of like the Bible says: a time to live, a time to die, a time to fight, a time to sow, a time to reap. You've got to know when it's time to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. I mean, when it was them peacefully being beaten by the British troops, that woke up people like George Orwell, who went back and wrote books about it.
Right.
He was one of those folks, guys. There's a time for that when they're provocateuring. That's why we don't go out and stage terror attacks, because they have to do it to blame it on us. But if they are trying to put us on flatback trucks, take us to FEMA camps, the preachers are all over saying, turn your guns in, go to the camp, take the shot, then you don't have a choice.
Yeah, well, by then it's too late. Now is the time. We have the beauty of a little bit of time right now to organize and to first of all, to educate ourselves, number one. Number two is to create community and reaching out to dozens and dozens of other people who feel the same way that you do, and then to take steps to get into the government, to get to your city council members, to get to your county commissioners, to talk to your sheriff, to talk to people who are in other positions of power, and to demand, not ask, but to demand true justice, and to stop this unbelievable slave mentality that we are experiencing.
Let me talk to John real fast, because the network selectively erases about 1 out of 20 of my shows from some glitch. Tell me Murphy's Law that last interview isn't erased.
I got it.
You got it, good. Are you listening to it? Does she say I won't commit suicide?
Yep, I got that.
We have that. Can you cue that up, please?
Yeah, let me transfer it over.
Oh, he's transferring it over. Oh, God. It's getting so obvious, George. I mean, it's
been obvious for the last 20 years. I mean, it just gets more and more and more and more and more obvious.
The Palestinian school teacher, Mr. Hamid, no criminal record, been wounded over there protesting in Palestine, giving him school books.
Oh, he was beloved at his school. But
I've now talked to his neighbors. I've now talked to people that knew him, talked to his best friend, his treasurer. There were Israelis running around with machine guns talking to neighbors. They wanted him to know they were there. This is in the weeks before he was killed.
Well,
I mean, my God, are they going to have like Israelis shoot me in my yard in front of witnesses, and then the media will say I killed myself? I mean, what does it take?
Well, they caught a truckload of Israelis the day after 9/11 in Ohio with plans to blow up a nuclear power plant down in Florida.
They also caught some in Tennessee. They caught them in Mexico City.
And they were here without permits. They were on illegal passports. And lo and behold, they got a free trip back to lovely Israel. Friends, I am not for or against any of the religions. I'm a friend to all of them, and I'm open to Israel. But, if you don't understand, is that the Mossad controls this country. It's just a fact. And unless we boot these son of a guns out, they're going to continue to play their games.
Well, I mean, killing people in Austin, it's out of control.
Yeah, that's what.
By the way, I got death threats that night, and they went in on my Wikipedia and said I'd committed suicide on my Wikipedia.
Yeah, that for the last 10, 12 years I've been talking to you about we've been talking together about the Mossad and how unbelievably powerful they are.
No, I have never debated.
Yeah, you've never debated it.
I've just simply not myopically.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of people that are.
It's easy to get off on a tangent and think that somebody's anti-Jewish or anything like that. And
it also gives our enemies ways to twist. It's effective just to get the message out about the New World. But since we bring that up, I want to get back to her.
And if it was Eskimos, we'd be saying the same thing. And the fact is, it's this one group of people from this one nation, and they have inordinate power in our country. And what they're doing is that they're just sucking this country dry.